Thank you for joining Matters Arising. I was just trying to bring out something from my pocket to give to you, but let me give you a question. So, all right. So we left off the other time on talking about the shadow government. We didn't quite go into details about it yesterday because we didn't have enough time. Showore has come out to lend his voice, like many other Nigerians, but especially Showore said the government itself is already shadowy. Why are you raising another shadowy government? That is an effort placed in line that are not consistent with demands and the needs facing the people. Nigerians are faced with real issues, real problems. You know, starting from what the president himself identified while campaigning. He identified that we needed to have been able to generate more electricity than we had then. And he, as a matter of fact, we still have his video where he said if he's not able to give us the level of electricity that is required to run the economy, we shouldn't vote him again. We are hopeful he is able to achieve that before 2027. When those kind of problems are there, high tariffs for communication, high tariffs of electricity, that is not even there. Even these communication networks are always failing. You know, I don't even know. One day we're going to bring out time to see what the consumer protection departments are all doing. All these are real issues. And also in places where this shadow government are legal and can be done, has always been a parliamentary system like what you have in the UKs and all that. So they say this is just a noise, just to get relevance. How do you see that?
Okay, so first of all, I saw the way Showore analyzed it.
Yeah.
First of all, he said, we're already having a shadow government, so why we're having another shadow government? Then the second thing he also majored on was because he said that we must do things in a constitutional way.
Oh, yes.
Our system doesn't allow for a shadow government. So you can't be talking about what's not enshrined in the constitution. Whether you are in government or you are out of government, yeah, that's one of the things I like Showore about. For example, he talks about revolution now.
Yeah.
His revolution now is not taking off arms against the government.
It's not talking about violence.
Yes, he's not talking about violence. Yes. He's talking about what is permitted within the confines of the law.
Change things in a drastic kind of
yes. People should rise
radical change of things.
Yes, people should rise up and talk and complain.
Yes.
Do you understand? Protest is a right.
I've never seen Showore with arms or anything that looks like arms around him.
And he has never been hidden.
Yes.
He's always on the forefront of whatever he believes.
Using his words.
Using his words. Now, if so, he kind of talked. What's his name? The man that said Pat Tommy that he talk intelligently, you know, and that this government they're already a shadow. That how can you make a shadow government of every parastatal, every directorate, every ministry? Where are you going to keep the people? Do you understand?
And you are going to fund that.
Yeah, how are you going to fund it?
Why not even dash that money to the poor people?
Do you understand? I'm using to do things.
I'll use that money to even provide something you think government has not provided.
Exactly. You know, so he waved that one and said, look, I believe this is what we should do now. Let's revolutionize now and change things as they are. That the ministers that are there, the director generals that are there, all head of agencies, all of them, they're already a shadow because they are not doing anything.
And they might also not even listen to what another shadow government would be saying.
Definitely. And there was one other significant thing. He said a government must move. You know, I told you in that place, if government, head of government, as a head of state doesn't move from one place to the other. You can't say hearsay. They are doing this one here, they are doing that one here. You know, and right. I think that's what affected us in the last dispensation and this dispensation.
So, Philip, let me come to you on this shadow government. Is it a misplaced priority, or Pat Tommy just want to be in this space, or he just woke up and said, okay, what will I do that will sound different, so that people will think I am a genius? And now talk about shadow government. It's practiced in Britain. They actually have offices. They come to the sitting actually. So
they sit opposite.
Yeah, they sit opposite. What is the objective of this shadow government that Pat Tommy is talking about?
You know, the last time the issue came up, if you remember my comment, I said Pat Tommy is a busybody with his group. I was the one that asked the question. Where is the office is going to keep these people, the ministers that is forming? Who is going to be making law for them? to be implementing.
They all have laptop wherever they are.
You know, Showore is not far from the truth. But the only thing I don't agree with him is that we don't have a shadow government in Nigeria. We have the government of Nigeria. The government of the day is
not. Showore didn't say. They didn't say they are illegitimate government.
No,
was using that shadow to kind of qualify them that they are not doing so well. Yes. But essentially, I do not think Showore means that the government we have is not a legitimate government.
When you re-emphasize it, I say it.
I don't think that's what he meant.
No, it was making a mockery.
It was making a mockery using the adjective shadow to qualify the legitimate government that we have.
Yes.
Of course, Asiwaju is the commander-in-chief of that.
He's not despising that.
Yes, I don't think he was arguing that.
On that, well, same page. But I said I agree with him when he said this should be done constitutionally. You know, I said it the other day. We are having a presidential system of government where in our constitution do you have provision or room for shadow government that, you know, Patomi is speaking of. The Patomi who spoke of shadow government is not in this country, it's in the US as we speak. That US runs a presidential system of government. Is there any shadow government where it is over there? Or is it just his own imagination? Like you rightly said, maybe, just maybe, he felt it has been long, the head of him. Maybe people are forgetting him. So he needed to...
No, I don't think people easily forget. It was part of Tommy that stepped down for Peter Obi.
Yes, but that was long ago. And nobody had not done anything extraordinary that big people to remember.
But this is not extraordinary. This is not... Well, people are saying it's not even ordinary.
But it's getting us talking.
Yes, exactly. To him, it's extraordinary.
Well, at least we're talking about it.
Exactly. So I think that's what he just did. He just want to get what
attention.
You know what they would call in the street, notice me. You want to be noticed.
As a matter of fact, I think it was Moka that took a swipe at him. That if this government was so bad in the way you were in a kind of talking about it, wouldn't even give you the freedom to talk about shadow government in a place where shadow government is not even allowed.
You know, I said what he is doing amount to treasonable offense. Because you are trying to say that you are forming your own government when you don't illegal government.
And our laws doesn't allow that.
So Moka was right when he said
that's the extreme of democracy. For us to even allow you, and nobody say you are wanted for treason or whatever.
They are liberal to allow you to just be canvassing, say all manner of things. So shadow government should not be a topic of discussion. Like we said that day, that those effort that is put into shadow government, you put it into suggesting to the government or criticizing the government.
Or even solving one of the problems is criticizing the government for.
Because all the effort that you put together to put the shadow government in place, the funding and all of that, is enough to solve one of our problems.
Yes.
At least he can construct a 1 kilometer road in his village. In
his own village.
Yes.
So, and put street lights.
Exactly. That was very hard.
Put MTN put the MTN tower and subscribe for them for 4 years.
I know his village does not have water. You know Ibuzo doesn't have water.
Yes.
So he can use the money to channel water from Asaba to Ibuzo so that people can have water to drink.
I'm really shocked the way you are taking a swipe.
No. People should do. You shouldn't just be.
No. Like
that's very true.
Like Show already said, Nigerians are facing real issues. Real not rhetoric, you know, something that is so that people you score a political point, or it will be in the history that you said this. There was the shadow government formed the shadow government.
No.
Who are the busybodies that are going to be functioning in the government?
If so many of them that are in opposition, whatsoever, is doing like Showore and Obi, I mean, the opposition will rise.
But Showore cannot stand where Obi is standing. Don't compare Showore to Obi.
No, but he's taking a little from what he's doing.
Showore.
I mean,
as a matter of fact, a lot of people are beginning to have issues with how Showore is presenting his opposition, because at the end of the day, if you are in opposition, the essence of opposition is to take over power from those ruling. You know, if you are channeling a cause that you know from beginning, from your mind,
it's not going to work.
You are not going to win an election.
You're not going anywhere.
You are not going anywhere.
It's not a cause.
It's not a cause that was investing in. Yeah, I had expected Showore to close ranks with this coalition coming on board.
But let me tell you one thing.
Yes.
Do you know that comradeship doesn't really they don't really make good administrators.
No, let me tell you. Hold on. I'm not saying Sowore should be your next president.
Yes.
If it's about being a good administrator,
yes.
And I cannot also accept it probably from you. Maybe that's not what you meant. That Sowore might not be a good administrator. He has been an administrator of Sahara Reporters for a very long time. I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm not allowed you to speak. Okay. Sahara reporter has survived a decade.
More than a decade.
And that's why I say survived a decade. Any business that has survived a decade and is still functional and is not getting allocation, we don't know of any allocation from the federal government or any subsidy from the federal government. I think we should give that person some credit or being able to run for any office, executive office. Most people you have as ministers today or those you call governors today, they never ran anything. They never did any business. We don't have record of them being successful in any business. From SSA to SA or whatever. Successful politicians. And they are driving Bentley all over and nobody is querying them. So let's know where we criticize Sowore. It's about putting your effort together with others so that you can win
there's
election.
Always an assertion that, is it an assertion? Always a belief that most of them that are not politicians by that kind of standard, most of the time when they come to just criticize, they keep it on that criticism level and to take power in some
but the error people are pointing into his criticism, he's fighting the ruling party that is there that you say they are not going to work. Then the people making attempts, because the only attempt we have now are the coalition. PDP is just about gone. Labour Party is in shambles. So the coalition they are making, presumably under SDP, which will not defeat the government. Even yourself is calling shadow. You also fought in them.
The truth is that we don't know where Sowore belongs. That is the truth. Sowore is neither here nor there. Sowore doesn't see anything good in Obi. Meanwhile, the whole country is rooting for Obi. Sowore at some point, if you remember, he was with the ruling party, was with Asewaju.
That's towards the removal of Jonathan. But I think he disagrees with that.
No.
He kept saying he was only working for Nigeria. We had the opportunity to discuss it.
How do you work with Nigeria when you do not work for the interest of Nigeria? Like you rightly said. The government of the day is not doing the right thing. People who are trying to create a coalition to remove it, you are saying that they are not the right people. Who are the right people to? How will Nigeria be good if everybody is bad?
Exactly. That's the question. Somebody has to be supported. Exactly. So people cannot.
I expect Sowore to join the coalition to see that he should bring his idea to the table. Or
let him give us the list of the angels from heaven that will win this government.
Even when angels come, they will say they are flying to work. So that's it was on that note I was talking about. Yes. I don't know if you understand that you can't work with this one, you can't work with this one, and you cannot also stand alone because you can't go it alone. It's too massive for you. So most of the time, people like that, people like Gani Fahimi, for example, don't forget Gani had a party, and the party didn't fly. It didn't go anywhere. So people that are human, you remember. So Sowore is like in that aspect. That's what I was talking about. Not good administrator as in running of
NCP or something.
NCP,
Nigerian Conscious Party, or either National Nigerian Conscious Party.
Exactly, something like that. So it's difficult for people in that space to advance the cause of the nation.
At the end of the day, we want him to show somebody very, very respectable,
very
selfless activism in Nigerian space. We expect him to
join force,
to at least work towards an end goal that Nigerians will benefit from.
I don't think he would do it.
The last time we spoke, when Farah to me said, "I will vote for Peter Obi again," but he shouldn't, be seen with Erufai some person. And we said no. If Peter Obi becomes president, if Peter Obi becomes president tomorrow, will he be president for only the righteous?
No.
He will be president for the righteous and the sinners.
Erufai is even one of the most, if not the most performing FCT minister we have ever had.
I'm not zeroing it down.
And there were records that when he was nominated a minister and the Senate wanted to screen him, a lot of the senators were expecting to bring money. He said no. I'm not going to give. There were records of not giving or accepting bribes.
He earned my respect.
So righteousness is not only on your own table. It's on the records.
I think he earned my respect as a minister of FCT. He's the one that put the structures there.
In as much as we also love the kind of activism he's bringing to the table, but the people that Erufai can mobilize to vote for Obi, if it works out, if there's anything like that coming up, I don't think Farah to be.
And the monitoring of the vote as well.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Defending the vote.
Defending the vote. Because that's what Obi could do.
So that's why you see that I wish Showore is not a flip side of Patutomi. Somebody who engages in something that will lead to no result. Because the reason you are against this shadow government, apart from being illegal, even as Asiwaju government and Moka are not saying that they are going to probably arrest him, or they are not even thinking it that way. They have just ignored him.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's leave about issue of illegality. For the fact that it's not even going to yield any result. So if you are criticizing Patutomi for engaging in what will not yield any result,
so
while in itself we engage in activism that we can't see the end.
So one kind of different sides.
Yes, a kind of different sides, and that's not what we want. Let's move to Naira note and drop a coin somewhere. We are talking about Nigerian first policy. This circular that came out about Nigerian first policy. The minister is saying that by Nigerian's first policy, we are going to add about 3 trillion to our economy in the space of next 3 years. A lot of people queried, oh, why 3 years when your tenure is ending 2 years? I say no, there's continuity in governance. That's actually something that I like. I want a government that will create policy, formulate something that goes beyond their own tenure. In this case, Asiwaju still has a leverage to win election and probably continue. Okay, but why has it taken them so long? Why did they have to wait till halfway? I do know right from too many years ago that when you patronize your local content, you sell forex, you create employment. For Apple phone you buy, for example, you are creating employment somewhere, whether Vietnam or wherever it's manufactured. How do we can manufacture? You will create employment here. Then now that we can manufacture vehicle, people say it's assembly. That's also what most countries, do.
South Africa,
everywhere. That's manufacturing of today. Once the country is registered there and the assembly and all that is done there, the manufacturing is deemed to be done there.
So don't forget that those assembly plants, all the different parts are brought from all around the world.
Different countries.
It's not in one place.
That's by absolute comparative advantage
of what they can produce.
Yes.
Maybe a little cheap like
so
this.
Why did it take them so long to start the policy if they are even going to implement it?
Exactly. So that's why I want to start from. When we spoke about this thing the last time, I said, don't forget, we have the one in Bayelsa, Nigerian Content Development Company.
Yeah.
We said, let's even narrow it to the fact that it was oil driven.
Yes.
Right? Now, even the oil driven right now, have they followed their policy through and through? They have not.
They have not.
If in that oil sector,
only,
thank you, sir, we follow it through and through, right? Let's say deep sea welding,
all those fabrications, yes.
Everything is done here because most of those oil companies, what they do is they bring it in and install it. Yes. That's all. But the fabrication should be done here. Do you understand? Now, let's even leave the oil. There's so many other ones you can do. Most of the time, they come with this bogus expression. They are the one that defaults first.
So, Philip, why did it take us so long? Let's just believe that his forecast is going to work. About adding 2 trillion to the economy is going to work. It could even be more than that. But why did it take them so long? Why they didn't want to add it in this first 3 years? Why the last 3 years of it?
Let me say this.
Asiwaju is an economist.
No, let me say this. Election is like 18 months away from now. So, and you also know that the Asiwaju government has kickstarted campaign for 2027. I think this is one of the campaign statement. I don't think they mean what they are saying. That is why it takes them so long, because if it's what they meant to do from the beginning, a government that is serious from day one, they started acting. You understand? So for me, I don't see any seriousness.
Even IMF regarded some of their buying of vehicles as wasteful.
Yes, because if you said you are going to patronize Nigerian policy first, where are you? There are vehicles, like you said, rightly said, being assembled or being manufactured here, Inosi and the rest of them. Why don't you first thing first, something that is physical, that is draining the government, the Nigerian economy, the purchase of vehicle for government officials? Why don't you start with that? If the money you used to buy 360 SUV for
only the House of
Rep alone, if you pump it into Inosi or one of those other,
they will employ Nigerians.
You know how much employment that we create and how it will boost the economy of the country.
And you also set example for the private sector.
Exactly. So for me, I think it's just a political statement. They're just campaigning because it's lip service. Because you ask the question, why does it take so long? because they already have time. Today's 13. We have, you know, how many days from that to make it 29? That is 13 minus 29. It gives you 16 days left. That's just 2 weeks. It will be half time. It is now they woke up that, oh, Nigeria first policy. You know, when the statement came out, the other said, one thing they could start with is, first and foremost, our head setup should be Nigeria here in Nigeria. That we will know that. Because if you know how much we spend on, you know, medical tourism in this country, in government, it's terrible.
As a matter of fact, when somebody mentioned the president, that he could set example by that, and there were defense that the president might have some history, that he might have a hospital outside Nigeria that he would prefer, that he's just about 2 years into this government equipment. Somebody also said he was governor for 8 years.
I was going to say that.
That he was governor for 8 years.
And he made Lagos what it is.
So Lagos could have had the best.
I think I was the one that said that. Okay. I think, was it not only governor
yes,
for 8 years?
Yes, you were the one, yes.
He also has control.
No, he was governor for 8 years.
That means to an extent, he still has some
legally he was governor for 8 years. Legally was
political. Okay. You see, there are some things we cannot say.
Yeah.
The construction of Lagos is still done by a company that is affiliated to him. We can't, you see, what we are trying to say, they should look at internal things first.
You see what I have to say on this, because we are the interlock that ordinary bricklayer can do for us in Nigeria. You see Lebanese and the Arab expatriate, and they are paid in such manner, repatriating their money away to another country, fixing walkways. We are here. So
horticulture.
And you are saying Nigerian first policy. And you don't have Nigeria that can fix ordinary walkway for Nigeria. So what kind of government is that?
And now we have a budget of about 54.99 trillion naira. When the government removed the subsidy and probably attempted to float naira until everybody started floating, and they are making an attempt now, which they must make if they will even remain in Aso Rock. so at the end of the day, it appeared they were trying to smile in line with IMF policies, which I think has never really helped any economy. IMF policies has never really worked anywhere. I stand to be correct. I don't know the country where IMF policies have worked. I don't know, because they don't feel the temperature of the people. They feel economies by books based on the money they want you to be borrowing and collecting and all that. You know, it's a controlled network. IMF, I have no records of where economy, any country that say, oh, we succeeded as a result of IMF policies. But those kind of, oh, remove this, remove that, appear to be IMF language. They forgot that there's no country in all the countries in the world have minimum of one thing they are subsidizing. In UK, the one that is very clear is health.
Even housing.
Well, yeah, even housing. Even, you know, in different countries.
Transport.
In America, agriculture. In UK, transport. Transport. So there are a lot of things that they subsidize. So for anybody to have told you to remove this and that without considering the earning capacity of your people, the education, their learning, the power you generate for them to even be able to get into industry, the person is not giving you a nice policy. That's the IMF has come out to say that our budget, 2025 budget, they are not even sure that Nigeria can achieve that. That's too ambitious. Well,
is he haven't said that IMF policy don't work all around the world, and you know, it's most third world countries that go to IMF to borrow money. Am I correct? That they help. Now,
they help. I dislike using that word help.
Well, they said that
they're slaves.
that they try to say, oh, let's help you package the economy. They always leave the economy worse off than they met the economy. But right now, the most funny thing of all is that the same IMF is not in tandem with the Nigerian government. That's the most absurd thing.
And it's the first time IMF has come against a country.
Thank you.
You know, budget that they are even financing. That they are uncomfortable.
And there's something also I want us to draw our attention to. IMF regarded some of our expenses as wasteful. They said they have to cost this wasteful spending.
But we can all see
it's like acquiring those vehicles that we have been singing.
You know, we had my friend here, Aliyu Audu, and we mentioned this, and he said that they must have good package to run the errand.
No, you say those is our operational cost.
Yes. You know, running it faster.
But you know that your capacity, what you call operational cost, it depends on your capacity.
What is the operational
a private
cost
jet can be a operational cost to Microsoft.
No,
it doesn't mean.
How do you call it your operational cost when you don't have the wherewithal?
And you don't even know what are you going to generate with it.
Wait, exactly.
It's just like right now, I'm budgeting how we eat, but on your pocket.
And you not declare operational cost
or your pocket.
People's money.
I'm not generating
people's money, and these people are
just to eat, not to even do anything.
No, not to do anything.
And you are not operating the people.
No,
the people are crying. You say be patient. Then you will not acquire aircraft for yourself for operational cost.
You are not even saying be patient. Say the people doesn't know why. You don't even know why they are crying.
That is politically motivated.
They are working for that. They are just crying.
That is politically motivated. I remember the bad governance protest and all, which they termed hunger protest. They say no, people are not hungry.
People are not hungry.
When a bag of rice was more expensive than the minimum wage as at that time, even the new minimum wage, people have not implemented. And I also say that time, the solution is not an increment of minimum wage.
You know, we kept on saying
it's not. Because when things are expensive, if you float everywhere with money, things become much more expensive.
And that is why the NLC has lost their usefulness to this country. They are not. You see, you cannot be asking for increment of salary each time the economy go bad. You should ask for policy that will turn this economy around.
Okay, there's something IMF also drew our attention to. I've also always said that this is not to reduce the good job done by men and women who work in FRS, custom, all these in quote income generating agents. They don't. When they say generating, it looks like they do the work, they manufacture a product and sell. You know, because they are given power. It's like giving me authority to arrest anybody in Nigeria. I will do it. But now on my own, I can't go and do it. So when I'm given that power, I shouldn't think I'm too powerful. That power was given to me
backed up by law.
But backed up by law. So some of these agencies, they think this money belongs to themselves. So they think it's theirs. They think they should be paid in tandem with what they are generating. They think that you are working in FRS, they are doing much more job than somebody working in the Federal Ministry of Works. That somebody in FRS should earn more. No, the money you are generating, we have just assigned it to you. It's all our money. So IMF is saying that cost of collection should be minimal. The money you pay the staff, their promotion, the trainings they do, whatever that is that goes into them, should be in tandem with those working elsewhere. Because there's nobody's like the whole of the body, your eyes, your nose, your neck. None can say, oh, I am too important. If particularly when that function is arrogated to you by the law. Cost of collection, even forming any other agency to collect or whatever. How is our cost of collection? If IMF can say it's too expensive and it's wasteful, how do we curb that?
I know that there are some people that work in FRS that are going to come against you.
No. Like I started by saying, not to reduce what they are doing. You know, if the Nigeria gets good for everybody, they will benefit.
Exactly.
If we save money, it's to save money and do bigger things, they will benefit.
Exactly. So. You see, you and I know that most of the agencies that work very well, government don't take them as their agencies. They sub-delegate in developed countries and said, collect and take a particular percentage. For example, you don't have people like roadworthiness or this thing in America. What you have is people that certify that your car is good.
As a matter of fact, in America, you only drive with two things: your license and your insurance. The vehicle license and insurance, then your own personal driver's license. Yes. When I even got as a student, I was asking which fire extinguisher, blah, 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 blah. They don't need all those paper.
Those are your safety, your own personal
safety. And there is no inspection officer that is going to stop you on the way, because before they renew your license, your car must have been certified for roadworthiness. In some states, they do it every 6 months. In some other states, they do it every year.
No, it's every 6 months. All over.
Almost all the states. Now
in that roadworthiness, if your car now malfunctions, right? That agency, that particular this thing, not even government agency,
it's mechanic workshop.
Exactly. They will see their certificate.
Yes, it's mechanic workshop.
They will not be able to operate again. So what I'm trying to say, there are these agencies that can do things according to how you collect. It doesn't have to be a government imbibed agency. But now, something like FRS, they go and we don't even know how much they're collecting into.
And the most important, that mentality or like the money, look at what we have gotten, look at what we are paid. Like the money is effort. The money is for the entire Nigeria.
Because that's what we have made it. They aggregate the power to themselves. And let me tell you something. Different bosses that come to FRS do things according to how they want to do it. Not according to how the
policy,
act that sets them up, they do it.
You see,
I'm telling you.
Because somebody working in FRS is by no means more important than somebody working in of works or any other or National Population Commission or National Population Commission. Even the petroleum sector. You know, let me hear from you, Philip.
You know, when you're talking about these agencies that the so-called agencies that have revenue generation.
Yeah, not necessarily Miss IMF pointing it out.
You know they are tax. They are tax collectors.
Yes.
And this government today is a tax collector. If you watch this closely, you pay almost 10 tax on one item. One item is they kept taxing over and over and over. And that's why you said, what do they produce to generate the fund? They don't produce anything just because the law empowered them. You know, how do we curb this? It's still the same thing. We need a good head to man the system. This good head will ensure that things are done according to the books. Like I said, every head of a government, especially these revenue bodies, custom, FIRS, what have you, it is how, when they come into office, they mark for themselves what they will take home as their retirement.
From the money that belongs to them.
Exactly. Because that is their retirement point. So they had worked so hard. Mind you, some of them even bribed to get to that office. They invested and they had to pay back. So we still fall back to this one good head, that people will be in office that they merit to be. That until we put a round square in a round hole and a square peg in a square hole, we will continue to cry wolf. We won't get out of this.
And understand national assets. Even the budget we are talking about, the budget belongs to all Nigerians, not only government workers. So that is what was why when you were talking about NLC losing their relevance, you know, a lot of policies were changed by this government. NLC never came to them. Can you tell us where this is leading to? This is our new relationship of enjoying fuel at 165, and the fuel is going to be, you know, left to the market forces. Can you tell us where this is leading to, so that in so time we can measure your performance? You know, when they talked about this 3 trillion, I was looking for the timeline, and I saw 3 years, because without time, you can't measure performance. Yeah. You understand? So NLC, they never. A lot of things were done until it goes to the pay of government workers. How many people really work for government in Nigeria?
The truth, we were talking about NLC. Yeah. They didn't go on riot, agreed, but there were a lot of negotiation. There were a lot of meetings between the NLC and government. I think that was enough room for NLC to come out with this your suggestion. Say, look, I agree, we need to move forward. Yes. We need to remove this. But how do we go about it?
Yes.
It was nowhere that NLC came up with a strategic policy suggested to the government. And the government rejected it.
Yes.
All they were asking for is to pay increase.
And it doesn't solve a greater problem.
They want 200,000 for the minimum wage. Is that your problem?
The people that are applying by private sector, what happens to them?
Exactly. Okay, let me wait on this. Now, if there's an increase in, there's a removal of subsidy.
Yes.
The main reason is that some percentage of Nigerians are taking this money and stealing it, because they will say they imported 10,000 liters, but maybe they didn't import anything at all. Yeah. So money is being lost along the line.
Because who was in charge of checking those?
Government. So now this is it. Okay, we are removing it because this money is draining our pocket. It's not going to the pocket of all Nigerians. It's going to some individual pocket. That's fine. So NLC comes up. Now that you are removing it, what are you going to use the money for? We are going to fix roads. Then we are going to buy mass buses. In these mass buses, there's going to be a subsidy for transportation. So it's going to trickle down, right? Everywhere. We are going to use it to fix power, right? And this power will now become cheaper than it used to be.
But rather, the thing was consolidated and shared by governors.
And shared by governors.
Governors, I see what you made clear that governors take up to 65, 70%.
70%. So that's where the problem of the NLC is.
Yeah, no, so that's why, we're on the same page. That's why when they have the opportunity to sit on a round table with government,
they will not.
Do they bring any suggestion
No.
to say that this money should not go to the government?
No.
To the government, but it should be spent on this
No.
item?
No. They just talk about salary.
Let's move a little bit to, do I call it politics now? Is Obasanjo still a politician or what do you call him? Obasanjo said,
is a statement.
It's a statement. Yeah, he said he was talking to leaders during the launching of this Sule Lamido's book. He was telling leaders, do I call them old leaders, current leaders, or any of Nigerian leaders, that we are not finished with Nigeria until we are finished. I am certain he was referring to probably a milestone where we can see Nigeria that works for everybody. Probably that was what he's referring to, that we are not finished until we get there. What do you think, Obasanjo? India, how far, if we really, in retrospect, I mean, what the leaders he's referring to that they are not finished, do we really want more of them so that they can finish the work, or we are even regretting having them on board? Which way can you weigh?
Let's first of all look at the dossier of
people there.
What's his name? Lamido. Lamido. He has been a minister. I think the foreign affairs minister, I can't remember too well. Then he has also been a governor, 8 years as a governor. I don't know if he ever served as a ministerial person. I can't remember that well. But he has always been in government for the past, even before this democracy. He has been in government. Now, what has been the input of Lamido in government? Lamido was governor of Jigawa. 8 years. We don't hear Jigawa for anything.
As one of the forthright states.
There's a road that runs through Jigawa. I know you know all the axes very well. And there's no turning to if you turn to the left, you enter the bush. Now, what has it made of Jigawa? Now, coming back to national politics, what has been the input of Jigawa? His best days are gone. So what are they not through with? They are not through with siphoning Nigerians' money? Is that what they are not true with? In their ranks, they should all have been retired now. And
leave Nigeria alone.
And leave Nigeria alone. Nigeria has paid them. Nigeria has fed them. Nigeria has supplied for them. It's time to leave Nigeria alone. They are true. I don't agree with Obasanjo in any way that they are not true. When I saw it, I was angry and appalled that they could make that kind of statement.
Philip, you think Obasanjo's and his life should continue, that they are not true? They are not finished with Nigeria?
I think we must understand what the elder statement is saying. We don't have to take the surface of the statement. When Obasanjo said we are not true with Nigeria, my understanding is that, look, yes, we may feel we have done so much for Nigeria, but we haven't done nothing.
Do you think they have done so much for Nigeria?
No. Let me come.
No, I'm asking you so that we understand you. You wanted all of us to understand and not pass through the surface.
Yes.
So do you think so far they have done so much for Nigeria?
You cannot wish away that these people have not contributed in any way to the development of this country, whether you like it or not.
I still agree with you on that.
Okay, so what I'm saying, Obasanjo could say that, look, you may not be in the forefront, but be part of this change. Even our mistakes, Obasanjo has come to own for his own mistakes. Those mistakes we make, let's find a way of correcting them. We must not be there, but must be the forefront to ensure that Nigeria move forward. You understand? Remember that Peter Obi was there too. There are other people. Yeah. They are young minds. Obasanjo will not come and run for
No, Peter Obi has always said that it's not even 2 years. He classifies himself even with
on this side.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But has Peter Obi give up in Nigeria? He hasn't given up for Nigeria.
He has not.
That's what Obasanjo said. Don't give up for this country. We may not have done it right in our time, but this is the opportunity. We still have the opportunity. We are still alive to encourage people who can do it right.
In that, do you see that people like Atiku should still come forward and not go home? He was the vice president of
Obasanjo. That's what he said. He is not.
So that they can continue.
What I understand to say is this: look, our time has passed, but that does not mean that we are finished. We must look for people who can take this country to the next level.
Okay, they must look for
others. Because if you say, okay, I've enjoyed myself, like Nigeria has actually taken care of them all their life and their family, and then they just realize they have more than enough to eat. Like what Jonathan Wife was saying, that is turn by turn, and we have enjoyed ourselves. We don't want to disturb other people to enjoy their time. That is giving up on the country. But Obasanjo said, no, don't do
but that brings this to the fore.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that thing again. Jonathan's wife not considering the performance index of Asiwaju to endorse them because of her personal relationship with Asiwaju. Do you consider that as patriotism?
You see, it's her opinion.
But do you think it's a patriotic exercise?
Well, patriotism to her, yes, but to Nigeria, it's not. That is being selfish and wicked to the nation. Because you are enjoying, because you have everything at your disposal, you don't care.
It's about time.
About how the country is being run. You won't, as the country has done so much for you, you don't want to do anything to service the country. That is not patriotism, But talking about this Obasanjo matter, we should also look at it beyond the surface. I believe strongly that he's talking to them that, look, we may have finished our own, but we must take steps to ensure that the error we made are corrected so that this country can move forward.
Okay, Kisley, let me come to you a little bit. When Obasanjo took over this country, he didn't take over America. He took over a nation that was ravaged by military exercise, and our economy were in shambles. He made efforts to ensure that most of our debts were forgiven. It's unfortunate that we are down in debt again, so terribly so. Then Obasanjo really made some strides, no doubt about that, even though EFCC today are beginning to veer off from what we used to know. Before, when EFCC arrests somebody, you almost conclude.
When you hear the word EFCC,
you almost conclude that person was involved in a crime. But now, when EFCC arrests somebody, they say, why are they persecuting? So people first say, why are they persecuting this person? Before they even come to think that there could be underlying crime. When EFCC came on board, it was a lot. And all these are agencies. Most of the agencies we are seeing today were created by Obasanjo. You think he doesn't have the charisma to talk to Nigerians that we shouldn't relent, we should continue, even though certain things has been done wrongly?
Okay, so let me pick it up from where he stopped.
Okay.
Now, he assumes that that's what Obasanjo was saying.
Exactly.
But if we take literary meaning of what Obasanjo said,
yes.
What he said is what he said.
Yes.
Also,
and people there are also people there.
I wanted to. That's what I'm going to. Yeah. The old dogs, old guard dogs, all of them still came there.
Yes.
All of them still came there. Now, none of them in recent time, apart from the Obasanjo, has taken national issues and put them on the forefront and discussed them. Some of them has retired, like the former Niger State governor. He's retired and retired. Ali Babangida. He came, you were saying it today that it's only this country you have civil servants that are richer than business people.
It's only this country.
Ali Babangida was the permanent secretary, if I'm well correct.
Yes.
He's from there. He went
Abuja here.
Yes. He was from there. He went to contest this thing. How will a permanent secretary has so much money to contest the election? Well, because of what the money spread. Now, a lot of them have gone to retire. And listen, most of these guys were in PDP. Most of these guys that were in PDP. And today, PDP is in shambles. And they cannot even put PDP together. So what do they have to give to us? if it's that aspect. Now, we are down in debt. Agencies were formed by Obasanjo to make sure we cut down on corruption. Now, from rumors that we heard that, number one, the Tinubu didn't even like EFCC. And he wanted to shut it down.
This recent time?
That was a rumor before he came in. They persecuted him. And all that. Yeah. So now EFCC is doing little or nothing. I mean,
but the chairman of EFCC came out the other day to say that they are not being controlled by.
It's not what we say; it's what we see. Let's not be looking about what people say. It's what we see.
He said they are not being controlled by executive, that they still do their job.
Imagine EFCC is now pursuing very dark man and
pursuing people spraying money at parties. When we have corruption, dick neck, money leaving our treasury.
As you are saying it, my body is paining me.
Looking for people spraying money. Looking for people spraying money.
They say this spray money, but it match the money.
Looking for local contractors struggling to pay their workers' salary.
Locking people's account. Legitimate people's account. And they are leaving their accounts that are in billions. And so what is the FCC doing? Is it what is telling that nobody is controlling also? By their action, we will know them. Isn't that what the Bible says? It said by their fruit
you shall know them.
So which fruit are they bearing?
Do you think FCC is really doing a remarkable job at this time, following the depth of corruption that is pervading Nigeria?
You know, you said it when Obasanjo set up the EFCC. If you hear the name EFCC then as a government official, you fidget. But today, the reverse is the case. It's not EFCC. Let them come. And a settlement. So that's the end of EFCC.
The other day, we lost a gallant officer in Anambra.
Yes, because
for going in the night.
No, we didn't lose a gallant officer. He killed himself. Is that the scope of
the night when you have a paper, at least a pen, that you can, if you can go to that address at night, it means you have an address to deliver a letter.
The act that set up the EFCC spelled out their rules,
the mode of operation,
and their mode of operations. Was he going to a man's house at middle of the night? In one of the
there's nobody that you knock his house in the middle of the night that will open door.
Oh.
I will release my dogs against you.
Of course. So
I will release 5 of them.
If you have double barrel, you shoot.
I release them against you.
So for me,
so you learn lesson.
For me, Obasanjo is saying what he's saying because of what he has seen. Because if you look at EFCC then, ICPC, Cevicom,
in as much as they were
government officials,
in as much as they were accused of some element of high-handedness, but when you look at that, they were actually chasing crime.
And what it is today,
but you know, we said it on this table that there are no countries that move forward with.
That's some element of it.
There must be a little bit of force because people.
Let's before we'll start rounding up. Let's look at what is happening in Edo State. Okpebolo, Philip, let me start with you. Okpebolo has actually petitioned even DSS, on attempt to arrest the leader of Neo Black Movement. I don't know if the Neo Black Movement is also what goes for the name, what is it called, Black House or something.
Yes.
Yeah, but what they recorded is Neo Black Movement that for forgery of certain documents, claiming that they did some project in the Edo South area, so he's declaring the leader wanted, and has petitioned the police authority and the DSS. And also that there's a policy that any location, any facility, building or whatever facility that it is, that is being used for operation of any cultic activity, any cult activity, anything that looks like what is illegal, and there is violence attached, that it will be demolished and police station will be built there. Do you think is something that Okpebolo will be able to achieve, and is something that Edo people want?
Okpebolo is an interesting human being, like Ike said the other day, that he hope is no more a case of one court, we shot in another court. Because the truth remains that all of a sudden, Okpebolo woke up to say that the new black movement, the aka Blackers, has forged Edo State legislative part to say that they are renovating schools and they are doing things. How is that possible? And that, okay, they should come forward to show the evidence of the school they've renovated and all of that. The excuse is given for his action. They are too flimsy. I can't factor it. I can't imagine it. Because the question is that were schools actually renovated?
Now, you said they should bring out the evidence.
So if there are no school renovators, why would you not go? Where did you get the proof of the evidence of forgery from? It's
how do you think, you are from Edo State? So do you think that is going to sanitize the environment for Edo people? I think cultism is a crime in Nigeria. I think even from the constitution. But oftentimes people are not able to define what qualifies as a cult and what does not qualify as a cult. But we do know that anything that has to do with the violence is a crime.
Whatever anybody do, what if we know that it's not within the confines of the law, we will criticize it.
Certainly.
And talk against it.
Yeah.
Okpebolo went and demolished a man's house that reported his son as that killed someone. He demolished his house, we criticized it.
Yeah, because it was the man that reported to the police. And the man was not the killer.
The man was not the killer. Now, secondly, we cannot say that we don't know that cultism has ravaged Edo State.
Cultism is a crime in Nigeria.
It's a crime. It's a known fact. Do you understand? I haven't said that. I also said that it should not be a matter of one cult fighting the other. Because I know very well that Obaseki tried to fight cultism, but he had these other guys with him. But the other guys that demolished their hotels and so many other ways because he wanted to, the ones that were not with him. Okpawolo has also come out and said that I am not a member of any cult organization. He said, go and look.
And nobody has refuted that.
Nobody has refuted that. We also know that this new blah, 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 they call themselves, aka Black Ass, are a cult. We've always known that they are a cult. For them to have the gusto to come out now and even appeared on a rise and say that we are a club, we are do this one. What are your standard of doing
what
things?
What are your primary mission?
What are you doing? They said that they, as charity. A club, they try to do charity.
And they did not claim that they renovated certain things. Now they are looking for the proof.
Okpawolo said they didn't get permission from the government. What they did was that there are some of their cronies in the civil service smuggled out this document for them and look at it.
Unfortunately, is a crime.
So
and some people have been arrested.
Exactly. Look, if you are from Edo State, you will know there's cultism. I mean, it's palpable.
All right, so let's keep that there. Let's move a little to Wike and the Fubara's reconciliation. The elders of Rivers they appear to be liking what is going on, even though Wike's temperament is still not very calm. Do you think this reconciliation is a welcome development in Rivers if it goes through?
Yes, I think it will be a welcome development, and I also think whichever divide you are in Rivers State, whether Wike or Fubara, I don't think any of them like what is happening in Rivers. Rivers should not be a scapegoat ground to test this nonsense that is happening. Truly, we are a democratic government. We should remain that way. One state is starting with one state. I've always said this thing. Starting with one state, there can be another 10 states later. Before we have a despotic leader in Nigeria. The leaders
you cannot be the most crazy person.
Somebody
can be crazier than you.
In fact, some of them will said what's happening in other Zamfara and all those things. Why have they not declared state of emergency in those places and fight?
It was actually the Farah Dagogo. That a lot is happening in Plateau. You know, a lot is happening in Zamfara where there are clear insecurity issues. You don't even need to be, that's not a proactive measure. Exactly. It's already happening. People are already dying. And you did not declare state of emergency.
And then the elders said that, look, what's his name? Fubara accepting it is as a result of the fact that he wants to make concession. You know, it's not because...
concession of what? Concession of what?
Concession. I want to, because he's conceding because he wants the peace.
What is he conceding?
Whatever it is, you want peace.
No, I know the question is asking.
Yeah, so I know that I'm going there because we've always asked what is the problem with Fubara.
Yes,
and we don't know what is the problem.
We want to know
whatever it is.
Okay, let me.
You have always said it on this table that
no
price is too high to pay for peace.
Yes.
So that's what Fubara is considering.
That's what it's considering.
If you want to know, so that peace can really be about
because the moment they consider peace,
what is it considering?
So the elders are saying that, look, truly, I think it's time for Rivers State to settle. Who is right. You see, somebody said that you don't always have to say sorry because you are right. So exactly. Sometimes you can say you are sorry.
I remember that Wike was reminding us that PDP can't win Asiwaju except things change. What will change for PDP to win Asiwaju?
If Asiwaju drop in tomorrow, this has changed.
You have said it all.
Yes.
Today you have said the best of the truth.
Thank you. All right, maybe we are going to keep it there. If Asiwaju for any reason drops Wike, things will change. And then PDP will be ready to fight.
Yeah, to fight APC.
All right. Thank you guys for being around. Hopefully we have time tomorrow again to throw basic lights to some of these things and